Hello again, Jim here from Remick Museum and Farm, and lately I've been doing a lot of farm updates from just right around the farm area with the animals and everything going on there. But I thought on this beautiful January day I'd take a walk around the farm and some of the more natural areas and take a look at some of the natural science things that are happening as well. There's definitely a lot of animals that are either taking a little pause or fully hibernating right now. Of course, a lot of the plants are dormant, but there's still a lot of activity going on, and we can see a lot of that with the snow on the ground. And so let's walk around and take a look and see what's going on. Up on top of the hill over here by the Benzac Trail, we've got some very definitive deer hoof prints. You can see their very hoof shape here, that kind of U, and there's a split toe, and you can see a little bit of drag as they go to the next spot there, which is pretty neat. Definitely saw a lot of deer activity around the garden as well. You can see them out in the field. We've got our typical group of turkeys that wander around the property looking for seeds and other things to eat. Things off the grass, maybe things underneath the snow. But a lot of grass, seeds still above. One of my favorite things about winter is continuing to do our tree identification and looking at different things. Even after the leaves have fallen off our deciduous trees, you can tell a lot about each individual species, and often some of the very defining characteristics are noticeable even during winter. And so one of the things here is these, of course, nice beautiful buds on our red maple trees. They really are very easy to see now without those leaves and getting ready. They'll swell before they start producing their fruits or leaves early in the spring, but they're just beautiful to look at, and we can easily see that as a maple tree, they have opposite branches, which means, like right in front of me, those two branches, those twigs are coming out, are opposite of one another as opposed to being alternate. So a little hard to focus on these buds, but you can see how beautiful they are, and it's really fun to come out here and take a look at these things as they change through the winter. And again, you can record these types of observations you make on specific days and track the changing of the seasons and look at that phenology. So this caught my eye. You can see a bunch of debris at the base of this tree. We know this is fresh because it's on top of the snow, and so we can come up here and do a little investigation, and it's definitely wood. So fresh excavated wood, right? It's been torn apart. So what do you think we might be seeing around here? It's always a fun winter sight. Woodpecker excavation. So you can see a variety of different things going on here. You've got some very circular holes, which would be some sort of insect that has bored out. So as the adult, they lay their eggs in the tree. The larva eats and eats and eats away. It's probably a beetle of some sort. It's a pine tree, so maybe a pine boring beetle. And then they exit those perfect circle holes and then go and lay some more eggs. And the woodpeckers are able to find these insects living in this dead wood of this live tree and look for some food. And they are very active, as you can see, during the winter months. They are not migratory birds. Most likely, my guess, this was a pileated woodpecker. Beautiful birds, very large, up to 16 inches, and they make these very, very large excavations. And some of them, if they're very big, they can even end up being homes for other animals in the forest. So it really shows that kind of connectedness of the ecosystem, the interdependence that we see between different organisms. But some really cool work that was done here. Sometimes some of my favorite things to find, and I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like this is some sort of access point to underneath the snow. We call that the subnivean layer below the snow, and a lot of our small little rodents that aren't hibernating, that is the important layer for them. They basically spend most of their time underneath the snow. It's warmer down there, but very important is that it's protected. Many of them do not have change in coats. Right, they don't transfer from their brown colors to white, and so anytime that they're above the ground, they are very exposed to predators like, hawks and owls, and the fox or other predators that would be around. So they want to spend as much time as they can underneath the snow. They tunnel around, move around. They'll have little places that can allow oxygen and carbon dioxide to move up or down depending on what they're needing, but they do have these little exit points where they can come above ground, and usually they're found kind of around trees or other places that might make good access that way. But super cool. You can see here over by this nice hemlock tree, we've got one of those access points, and this goes all the way underneath the tree, but you can see that when there is snow even here, they could tunnel out of there, and it's a good place to go in and out. It's protected by the tree and the roots itself, and is a nice place for a tunnel to start. But this hemlock out here in the bright sun, the snow is definitely melting around it very quickly, so it's pretty exposed right now. All right, as I was talking about a little bit on the maple trees, again, finding things that help us identify trees in the winter are super fun for me. Behind me, we have a very notable tree, the white or paper birch, very well known by the white bark on that and the kind of distinguishing marks on there. Other birches look very similar, have the very peelable bark, depending on which ones they are. But another cool feature of them are their fruits and buds. So we'll take a look at those. All right, so here we have a catkin, and this is the fruiting body of a birch tree, and lots of different birches, and actually your aspens have catkins as well. And here is the male catkins, and so the male catkins will produce pollen early in the spring, and these female catkins will be where the actual fruit develops once it catches the pollen, and then the seeds will develop from there. And you can see also that there are the buds on these twigs, if I can get it into focus, which these will be the leaves and the new growth for the year. So new twigs, new leaves, and very cool. And you can see these the growth on these birch trees, not white, it's very red, and it still though has those white spots, which is for gas exchange. So letting oxygen out and bringing carbon dioxide in so those trees can photosynthesize. Also cool to find, you can see there's been some pretty significant digging here, and down here we've got an acorn that's been brought up and opened up and eaten. So most likely a rodent from around here digging up some things, trying to find food. Probably, more active on these warmer days, but still finding lots of things to eat below the snow level. Of course, winter tracking, or any tracking at all, wouldn't be complete without finding some animal scat. Here is some deer scat, and we can definitely see some very nice deer prints that accompany it. Here again, we've got quite a few footprints and some digging, again looking for food underneath that snow level, and we've got some pretty good indications that this is probably a squirrel coming down from these trees. And these are those tracks that I often find where we have seen our squirrel evidence, right? We've got our front feet and our back feet probably sitting kind of in a little haunch position, or even just when it's moving from place to place using all fours. But those would be our squirrel tracks. And some of my favorite tracks to find, because you can imagine what you're seeing. You've got your 4 paw prints and a little tail drag in between. So some pretty small, because it's not leaving much of a track here, but again, probably a little rodent of some sort, not leaving much of a mark. And here again we see some of those light marks, maybe some tail drags, and going back and forth, out and about. But what's super cool about this spot is you can see exactly where it leads underneath the snow layer. So perhaps a mouse, little field mice. But again, very important, they don't want to spend too much time above the snow. They want to get underneath that subnivean layer so they are protected. All right, well, that's our video for the week. Thank you for joining me. And even if I don't see a lot of actual animals when I am exploring, I still am able to find a lot of things to make it a successful day. Especially today, found all those animal tracks, and you can really see their behavior, what they're doing. And even if you're not able to actually see the animals, it's still very successful because you're seeing a lot of the things that they're doing that you'd probably scare them away anyway. So you're able to see some of their feeding behaviors, how they're moving around when it's, if they're avoiding predators or trying to find prey, seeing where they live, all those different things that are still awesome observations, and we can use the tools at our disposal to see if we can figure out what those animals are just by their tracks and signs of life. So I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you're following along on YouTube, make sure you give us a like and subscribe. If you're following along on Facebook, you can like and certainly share with your friends if you think this would be something they would enjoy as well. And I'll be back again real soon with some more videos. Bye!